Hello there, welcome to our Current Affairs program, where we aim to go beyond the headlines and make you understand our news stories. Today on the show, a single mother taking up a job dominated by the male folk. What are some of the challenges for women in the trucking industry? Join us as we accompany Lovely Mukupa on her typical day at work as a truck driver.
They don't intimidate me. We are so much friends. They don't even take me as a woman. They take me as a man. Even when they are sharing stories, they don't mind that there is a woman. They just talk as if I'm also a man. Yes.
After 4 months of shortage of antiretroviral drugs in Zambia, the life-prolonging drugs finally start trickling into the country. However, the impact of the rationing that patients went through may perhaps never be known. Government's infrastructure development agenda excites many entrepreneurs, with 2013 recording the highest ever registration of construction companies. National Council for Construction, however, casts down most of these companies as lacking what it takes to venture into the construction industry.
It is not possible that each and every contractor that is registered can get a contract. And that's the biggest challenge that we are facing as National Council for Construction. You have these individuals coming to register companies owned by a husband and a wife and wanting to go it alone and just making our register so big. And when you go out in the field, you find these people cannot even get a job.
When you're going to start a construction firm, it's okay for any entrepreneur to start a construction firm. But when you have done so, employ properly qualified engineering professionals to do your construction. In fact, this has been the source of shoddy works.
As the Engineering Institution of Zambia castigates contractors carrying out shoddy works in the construction industry. I'm Francesca Piri Banda, and you are watching The Scoop. Government construction projects like the Link Zambia 8000 and the planned construction of over 600 health posts across the country have triggered interest among Zambian entrepreneurs. Statistics obtained at the National Council for Construction indicate that over 1,000 new construction companies have been registered from January to August this year. The number of companies registered so far has been termed as unprecedented since the establishment of NCC in 2002. However, NCC warns that these companies should not think that there is easy money in the construction industry.
The construction industry in the country is projected to grow at 8.6% per year between 2013 to 2017. Government infrastructure development agenda has this year been bolstered with the injection of 28 trillion kwacha 5-year work project. The sector is receiving massive government and other stakeholders' attention. Major construction projects like the Link Zambia 8000, a 3-phase road building scheme, construction of over 600 health posts countrywide, and education institutions has stirred great interest in many entrepreneurs. Other construction projects like the Millennium Challenge Corporation, looking at water and sanitation, are underway at a cost of more than $350 million over a 5-year period. Statistics at the National Council for Construction, NCC, shows 2013 has registered a phenomenal number of indigenous construction firms.
In 2011, we registered 3,069 contractors. In 2012, which is last year, we registered 3,887 contractors. Now, this is just beginning of September 2013, according to the statistics that I have, we have registered as of 29th August, we had registered 5,252 contractors. 5,252 contractors. And I think for me, there's a huge gap. This is a huge rip from 3,800 to 5,252. And we've never seen such an influx of new establishments in the past years, other than I think what we've seen this year.
The phenomenal interest by Zambians in the sector has also been registered at the Patent and Companies Registration Agency, PACRA.
We've noticed as PACRA that there's been a sharp increase in the number of businesses that are being registered in the construction sector. I'll give you an example. In 2012, that's from January to December 2012, we had about 3,800 companies or businesses that were registered in the construction sector. But when you look at the trend this year, just from January up to the month end of August, we've registered more than 3,400 companies. Already that shows that by the time it's December, we'll probably be talking about 4,000 businesses that will be registered in the construction sector. And as an agency, we feel that the sharp increase in the number of businesses that are registering in the construction sector is as a result of the deliberate policies that probably government is putting in place to help boom the construction sector.
Injection of huge resources into the sector, also influenced by well-resourced and equipped foreign players, creates stiff competition. This inadvertently opens up avenues for corrupt elements in the quest for jobs.
Not possible that each and every contractor that we've registered can get a contract. And that's the biggest challenge that we are facing as National Council for Construction. You have these individuals coming to register companies owned by a husband and a wife and wanting to go it alone and just making our register so big. And when you go out in the field, you find these people cannot even get a job. And what we've been saying as a council is that let these people join hands and form well-established companies with capacity, especially when you look at a few people coming together with whatever skills they may have, whatever little equipment they may have, whatever cash they may have. If put together, that would become something that would be considered, and it would be a considerable amount of resource which they can show to the would-be employers for them to be considered to be given even bigger contracts. But what we have now is a situation where you have companies that are owned by wife and husband, like I said, brother and sister, and they are too small to do anything meaningful. So the Zambians are being urged, especially the contractors, to team up and put their resources together so that their resources can become more tangible, more meaningful, so that they can be considered by the client organizations.
The Engineering Institution of Zambia acknowledges the growth of the sector with a warning to authorities. Addressing corruption and mismanagement in the sector is a sure way to strengthen its growth.
People who are getting into construction sector with a view of staying in construction. Now, you see, when you're going to start a construction firm, it's okay for any entrepreneur to start a construction firm. But when you have done so, employ properly qualified engineering professionals to do your construction. In fact, this has been the source of shoddy works, because many people think that construction is easy, it can be done by anybody because of what is perceived as the empirical nature of engineering, where every individual is deemed to be able to put brick and mortar together, and therefore he thinks he can construct. It's not everybody who can construct. There are people who are properly trained, who have gained enough experience and competences to be bricklayers, to be electricians, to be plumbers, and so on. And when you have a construction firm, ensure that you are using properly qualified individuals.
While huge resources are being pumped into construction, curbing misuse through incorrect procurement procedures and transfer of contract risks from contractor to government is vital. Government, in a bid to empower local contractors, provided a 30% subcontracting policy on road contracts given to foreign companies. Adhering to government policies in the bid to boost the capacity of local contractors is key if indigenous firms are to grow.
We must insist that where the foreign firms are constructing, providing contracting activities in road construction, let them employ the minimum requirement. And the government has said 30% will be reserved for local firms, emerging local firms. And let us ensure that that is done. And I think it is being done. And where we have foreign firms refusing to adhere to this, I think necessary action must be taken to, I would actually say terminate their services. Because we must develop Zambia, and developing Zambia has to do with developing the infrastructure.
Construction plays a pivotal role in economic growth, accounting for about 21% of the country's gross domestic product, GDP, in recent years. However, both the National Council for Construction and the Engineering Institution of Zambia warns contractors against shoddy works through which government has lost huge sums of money in the past.
We do know that infrastructure development is very expensive. And so whenever you undertake on any infrastructure development such as road rehabilitation or road construction, there will be large sums of money being spent there. And in the past, there's been complaint that our local contractors are not doing very well. Now, we are also concerned about that, and we want to be able to ensure that our local contractors are doing very well. And therefore, we are happy with what we are seeing, that the government is now insisting that our local contractors must be developed. And one way of developing capacity within the local industry is by ensuring that the local industry is participating on projects that require enhanced engineering.
Infrastructure development is taking about maybe 30–40% of the government's annual budget. They think that's money which they can lay their hands on. And I think that's what is causing the influx of these contractors getting to NCC to try and get registered so that they can lay hands on one of the contracts and probably get away with easy money according to them. But I should state that the money in the construction industry is not easy money, because what it is that infrastructure development is a costly exercise, and for instance, putting up a road is not an easy exercise. It's an expensive venture, and you find that most of the money that has to be paid to the contractor must be injected back into the project for a road to be built.
PACRA, on its part, attributes the increase in the registration of companies to the decentralization of its operations. However, it notes registering a company and complying with statutory obligations are two different issues.
Appeal to these same businesses that come to register is that they also have to be compliant with the post-incorporation or registration requirements. For instance, the annual returns. The annual returns are actually key to us because they help us to actually check on which companies are active. Registration is another thing, but then it's also a legal requirement for businesses to file their annual returns. So our appeal is that these businesses should put in place measures that will actually help them to make sure that they comply with the requirements to file annual returns.
The construction sector has the potential to grow and contribute to the economic growth of the country, but this can only be achieved if the right players get into the sector, not driven by monetary gains but to deliver to specifications.
The last 5 months have not been an easy period for more than 300,000 Zambians living positively with HIV. Shortages and later rationing of antiretroviral drugs, the life-prolonging drugs which they depend on to sustain their lives, caused anxiety and panic. But that is now all history, as the ARVs have actually started arriving in the country. A consignment of ARVs worth 150 million kwacha expected to last for more than 1 year have been procured.
Government in the 2013 budget allocated 3.6 trillion kwacha to the health sector. Out of this allocation, 594.1 billion kwacha was for drugs and medical supplies, representing a 112% increase when compared to the 2012 allocation. 3 months into the year, the country was hit with a shortage of antiretroviral drugs, ARVs, causing panic in over 300,000 people living positively. After 5 months of uncertainty, the essential drugs started trickling into the country last week. While panic over ARVs has eased up, uncertainty remains over the non-availability of BCG vaccine in the country. BCG is a vaccine given to children under the age of 5 to protect them from tuberculosis TB. The vaccine has been out of stock for the past 2 months. Many mothers can only wonder and hope the vaccine is procured soon. In both the ARVs and BCG shortages, government has blamed suppliers and shipment challenges for the predicament. Community Development, Mother and Child Health Minister Joseph Katema says the shortage and delay to vaccinate babies will not have any repercussions.
There's still a window period of 2 years in which a child can be immunized with BCG. So a month or 2 weeks which they have lost is negligible. It's not something that they should worry about. Government has got a mandate and is serious about reaching out every child, every Zambian child, every Zambian child counts.
The minister assures the country the vaccine will be in this week.
We are following up very closely. Earlier we did mention that we are going to receive this medication between the 2nd and 3rd week of September. That was the earlier statement we had. And we are following up very closely, and we're reliably informed that we should be receiving this commodity by 17th of September this year.
Unlike the BCG shortage, the ARV shortages that have hit the country recently were anticipated in the 2010 National AIDS Strategic Framework. The framework, among other projections, highlighted the need to strengthen procurement and supply system of ARVs to avoid stockouts in treatment facilities. Withheld donor funding to the health sector had also been projected to affect provision of ARVs in the country. Stakeholders like Treatment Advocacy and Literacy Campaign, TAUC, questions government's seriousness in fighting HIV/AIDS.
Into the challenges that were noted in the National AIDS Strategic Framework in 2011, it was expected that changes would be made to avert such challenges at this point in time. Yeah. It's rather strange that we have 80% of the national AIDS response being donor-driven. Government largely contributes about 20% of that particular AIDS response, which is inadequate. At this point in time, we should be talking of being able to even surpass a Abuja declaration that demands that governments should be able to contribute about 15% towards the national budget in as far as health sector is concerned.
While the arrival of the drugs has brought relief to many, the effects of the shortage that the country has gone through may perhaps never be known.
Stock out of ARVs actually does frustrate the public health efforts that are there. Zambia has recorded great strides in PMTCT. No person should have been born with HIV from a pregnant woman, from a positive pregnant woman.
But the situation, that cannot really be guaranteed in the absence of ARVs. So what has happened to children that have been born from a period March 2013 to date? Because the stockouts have been there. So it still is a tragic situation, and we need more sustainable, more planning, more quantification to actually be able to match the demand that is there for the ARVs.
TAUC's desire is a predictable and sustainable supply of the life-prolonging drugs, a desire which government claims is committed to fulfill.
You can see that the government has already put in money to procure such large quantities of drugs, as well as this 2014 budget, which will be approved in December. We will also have a further budget by the government itself. This is not to underline, to score the fact that even Global Fund and other partners such as PEPFAR are also still buying more drugs of the same to augment our own resource. This is just to demonstrate that even the government of Zambia itself has a responsibility of having set aside such enough money for the country to have much more steady supply of ARVs to the public, rather than depend on our cooperating partners.
The procured drugs are expected to last for a year, a period long enough to replenish stocks and probably, once and for all, close the sad episode of shortages.
The logistics, the delays at the ports of entry, such as the Dar es Salaam, and so on and so forth. But all the same, we're doing much better because in terms of ordering, we are at an advanced stage so that we can place our orders faster and make sure that the product come earlier because of the competing needs, especially at the manufacturing level. And that's why we need to bring the procurement system into medical stores so that the same people who are managing the supply can see when the reorder level is placed, and then it can trigger to the procurement department that they should start procuring faster.
Some health sector analysts conclude that the BCG and ARV shortages are a reminder of the many inadequacies affecting the country's health delivery system. Increased funding to the health sector is in itself not a solution. Multiple factors must be considered if shortages like what the country has experienced are not to recur.
Now, in our next final story, we'll look at how this woman is making a contribution to the economic development of the country in a very special way. 38-year-old Lovely Mukupa is one of the few women who have ventured into a career dominated by men. She has defied all odds to become an intercity truck driver, hauling anything assigned to her from maize to cement across the country. Lovely is the only female truck driver at Arizona Trucking Company. Working as a truck driver, let alone a truck and trailer driver at any level, has always been seen as a man's job. That statement would have been true 20 years ago. Being a truck driver has not been considered a dignifying career for a respectable woman. But one woman has defied the odds by being good at her job as a means of survival for herself and her family. 38-year-old Lovely Mukupa is not deterred by dangers of spending long hours on the road.
When I enjoy traveling, so whenever I sleep, I know tomorrow I'll be in Kapiri. I sleep, I know the other day I'll be in Mbala, the other day I'll be in Livingstone, so I enjoy traveling. I move a lot, I see city to city every day, and one of my interests is traveling. I've been from here to Northern, I've been to all the towns up to Nakonde. I've been to the other part up to Mbala. And I've been to this this other route, I've been up to Kasumbalesa border, and this road to Solwezi, I've been up to Solwezi. I've been up to Chirundu, Sesheke, all the border towns. I know all the border towns. I've been to Malawi also.
When Lovely has a journey, her typical day starts at 5 a.m. Of course, being a truck driver, just like any other professions, is a risky undertaking. Driving at night poses the danger of being robbed or killed, the challenge of accidents, and risk of health problems due to overwhelming fatigue. Lovely is alive to these risks, but the benefits of fending for her family pushes her each day to set out on the Zambian roads.
I stay with my daughter. My son is in boarding at Pemba High, but this time he's there at home. He came for holidays, and I also look after my sister's kids. 2 boys, my immediate elder sister who died last year, and the other elder sister of mine who is still there in the village. I also keep his son at home.
Breakdowns on the road are inevitable, and every driver is bound to experience that during the course of their work. So how does Lovely, who moves without a lorry boy, handle breakdowns?
I've got my nephew. Sometimes I travel with him. Sometimes I don't travel with him. Yes. So the challenges that I face sometimes when I'm alone, maybe I have a tire puncture, it will mean I will stop there for a long time. I'll wait for someone to come and help me, or maybe I'll just find other guys, they help me to take out the tire. I know all the basics, so I know what to do, but I need help because a tire weighs more than my weight and I can't lift it alone. So I'll need help there.
Obviously, if one makes a choice upon such a career, they should be aware of the fact that their personal life will be highly affected by it. Working as a truck driver is not easy, as it entails long hours of driving and being away from home days on end.
Most of the times I have so many trips because I'm not married. The other driver will come today and offload, he will go home and see the wife and sleep. Me, I will just offload and start off. So at the end of the day, you see that I have more trips than the other person because he still has to go home and see someone. Me, I'll just pass through home. I see my kids, we talk, I provide everything, whatever is not there at home. Then I just tell them, no, I have to go and sleep somewhere. I'm going, I'll see you when I come back.
Being a sole breadwinner of the family, Lovely's responsibility stretches beyond her 4 children to her extended family.
Support my family. In my family, I'm the only one who is working. I'm the only one who is looking after my mother in the village. I'm also looking after my other family, just there in the village. Everyone is looking at me. So I'm doing this for my family and for other people who depend on me. I've got so many dependents. Yes.
The few days she is home, Lovely manages her role as a mother, an achievement her children greatly appreciate.
Well, I'm just proud of her because none of them can do this job. So I'm just proud of her. I just pray for her that there is nothing wrong that can happen to her.
It's good because it's very good. She's sponsoring us,
Lovely adds being a truck driver has given her fulfillment and freedom she needed to help her family.
Whenever I want to go out, I'll ask them what they need for household. I'll make sure I prepare everything. I leave everything in the house. Even if I've got no time to buy some of the things, I'll leave money so that they can buy for themselves. Yes.
After days of being on the road, Lovely finally makes her arrival at one of the depots where she is to offload maize. While she waits for her turn to offload, she and her fellow truckers have lunch together, and it is clear that she does not get any special treatment.
Tisenza chemushe na mama yao balichemushe muza compared to bakazi benango kulipe mkazi waneti naona hapa taenza track no che wanitona and asenza chemushe
to this woman is very good, because a woman to drive a truck is it's impressed. It give us interest, and we are very happy to see a woman driving a truck.
They don't intimidate me. We are so much friends. They don't even take me as a woman. They take me as a man. Even when they are sharing stories, they don't mind that there is a woman. They just talk as if I'm also a man. Yes.
After offloading, Lovely parks the truck and goes home for just a day to freshen up and see her family. Another trip is just a few hours away. Women truck drivers are very capable and a great asset to an industry in need of well-trained, high-performing drivers. After being divorced from her husband years back, Lovely Mukupa thought her world had ended, but her fighting spirit saw her get into a career that has helped her take care of her family. While a lot of times it feels like a man's world where women aren't 100% equal, it's important for females to feel they too can contribute to a household. Also, how can Lovely be the strong, independent woman that she is without compromising her responsibilities? Independence is something women should strive for, the ability to be self-sufficient and in charge of their own life. Lovely has some advice for women folk who solely depend on their spouses for their livelihood.
Truck driving is just like any other job. You can see women are soldiers, they are police women, so it's just like any other job. So even a woman can do it. Me, I can do it, I'm a woman. And there are other 9 ladies here in Zambia. We are almost 10 drivers. So even those who are just at home, they should wake up. They must see that they can do this. I know they are there and they have got interest, but they have got no time to do that. They think they can't do it. Today they will see me here, I can do it, and they can also do it.
Surely, Lovely's story is one unique one, and she should inspire a lot of women to say that they can be whatever they want to be if they put their mind to it. Well, before we end our show for today, we now leave you with the proverb of the week. And this week's proverb says, between true friends, even water drunk together is sweet enough. The proverb again is, between true friends, even water drunk together is sweet enough. Well, you can send us your own interpretation of that proverb via our text line. All you have to do is type ASK, leave a space, type your message, and send it to 3322. Well, on behalf of the entire Scoop team, till we meet again next week at the same time, this has been Francesca Peribanda saying bye and enjoy the rest of our programming.